trying to get them to do bad things, like go and they told me it was like they were told to go rob a store, and they actually were thinking about getting a gun and going and robbing a store, and they said that's they got so involved in it, and then they got scared at one point, and they said they burned it. So I mean, it's just so many things out there. It's scary. I mean, the spirits. I don't know if there's good spirits or bad spirits, but I don't know if they want to control you. I guess some of the stuff, if you open it up deep enough, it could get really scary.
Yeah, if we're talking about spirits, I mean, when we look at the scriptures and we look at some of the ancient texts, we understand that people die. Spirits don't die. Spirits are eternal. They live forever. And so it's the people that die. So Jesus even talks about like dealing with the same spirits that Moses dealt with. And Aaron and Elijah and these guys dealt with the same spirits they fought against that was ruling and reigning, and the spirits of authority and things like that. Jesus said that his fathers dealt with that, and we're dealing with the same spirits. And so if we're dealing with those realms, these spirits are a lot older than we are. And so they're a lot more smarter and manipulative than we are. And so the weird thing is like, I want to encourage exploration. I don't want to, kind of discourage anybody to want to study this, but you have to use caution, and you would be amiss not to beckon people to use caution. But if you feel called to those things, some people are called to that stuff for a reason, and it takes a very special person to do the spiritual work and not get possessed, not get oppressed, not get beat up. I mean, they talk about a lot of the priests in the Catholic Church who actually get into exorcisms and casting out demons. They say they have I think it's like a 6-year spree, and after that they're done. It just takes a toll on their body. Their lives become targeted and stuff by these different entities and sects of demons and things like that. It gets into a lot of stuff, and if you're gonna deal with those realms, it's not to be played with at all. And so I definitely, even though I put it in my music and I make it sound appealing, which it is to me, I make it sound appealing, but I also tell people that none of it's to be played with. Christianity is not to be played with. We're talking about dealing with Jesus and God and angels and all of the good stuff. That's not to be played with either. There's consequences of getting into that and turning away from it. There's consequences for casting demons out of a person. And if they don't mean it, that person may be better off dealing with those spirits that they have. In the scriptures, it talks about if you cast demons out of someone, that demon goes and gets 7 other demons stronger than itself, and it comes back to the person to see if they can kind of take over. Like you kicked me out, but let me see you kick me and my friends out, and they go get 7 stronger demons, and it says that they come back to take residence in that person again. But if they come back and the home or the body is swept clean and it's a new person and everything's changed and the old sins are gone and the addictions and all that stuff's gone, then they go to dry places and then they go on to try to find another host. But if they come back and they find that house the same way they left it with 7 other demons, it says that the state of that person is worse off than before. So even if we think we're doing good as far as ridding people of their demons, that has consequences as well. And these are some of the things that aren't talked about in the church. They don't, there's evangelists who come and set up tent revivals and cast demons out of people for fun. And it's good, and there's an emotional roller coaster, and there's a freedom that happens there. But if there's no discipleship and there's no training and equipping and telling that person what's going on, then when they leave and pack up and leave town, turn their backs on the person, that person's in for a rude awakening. And we got to talk about this stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, boy. If a person gets possessed, I mean, how can you tell if a person's actually possessed? I mean, if you met somebody or knew them, if they were possessed, I mean, is it just their personality changes or what?
Yeah, definitely. They talk about the difference between, possession and being oppressed, and you don't want to be either or. I think there's a lot of people who are oppressed by spirits and things like that, and the struggle of life and worries and, burdens and things like that. When it comes to dealing with these things, it talks about that these spirits are strongholds in your mind, and their thought patterns, their vibrations, and they change the way that you think. You look at the drug addict. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. They're always looking to get their next fix, and to do that, they will do anything. They're under the possession of that drug for that time period. I have family members who are in it, and I come from that, and so I understand how that operates. And the way spirits work is very much the same. They want to leave you in a place of madness where they're thinking for you, they're tormenting you. They get a kick out of this, and so we look at. There's so many traces of it, just even in our culture. We can look at people cutting themselves. This is something new that's come here. A lot of teenagers who are depressed, they go to cutting. They cut themselves because they want to feel. If we look over in the Eastern cultures, they cut themselves to make pacts with entities and scratch themselves and things like that. And look in the Bible, and the people who were demon possessed, there was something that linked blood and wanting to scratch themselves and cut themselves, and they had superhuman strength and things like that. But I think that we're seeing a lot of this stuff, even when it comes to oppression. But as far as somebody being possessed by a demon, you get to a point where it's something speaking to you. It's not just influencing you. I think through oppression, we could be influenced by these spirits and by these powers, but possession, you're definitely under total control of the entity, and it leads to maybe killing sprees, murders, rapings, and things like that are under control of these spirits by giving themselves over to it by many different reasons. Many different reasons that we can kind of come into agreement with these spirits and almost give them legal right to be here. And you give them they say, what if you give the devil an inch 12 times, it becomes a ruler. Uh-huh. It's just always something little and little and little. Well, I'm just going to get into this witchcraft, or I'm just going to do this, or I'm just going to try this drug one time, and now you're doing it. You can't stop. It's just fixed. I mean, where do these things start? They always start with something small and something innocent. I mean, if we look at drug addicts, like these people didn't, it wasn't their goal. It wasn't their childhood dream to be doing this the way they are. Uh-huh. It started with, going to a party and someone, hey, you want to try this? Sure. That person could do it one time and be okay, but now you're addicted. Now you can't wait for the next time to do it again, and it gets into a lot of things, and you're willing to manipulate and kind of bend the rules to get what you want, and these spirits do the same thing.
Yeah, I know up in my area, probably about 100 miles, or about 130 miles from where I live, back in the 70s, it was really bad where there was a place where actually witchcraft was practiced, and actually there was a lot of little people. It disappeared. They actually, at one point, I guess they were kidnapping, young kids and sacrificing them before they finally got caught. And I don't know. From what I read about witchcraft too, and a lot of the stuff that the demons will offer you things too at one point to make you be enticed into it. They make promises to you. And maybe they do keep their promises for a while, but it's only to get you hooked into it. After they get you hooked into it, it's like, they pull the tablecloth out from underneath you.
Yep. That's exactly what they do. And it kind of works the other way around, too, as far as, you getting knowledge from them. Like you approach this demon or this jinn or this genie, and in some of the Western, the Eastern cultures, as far as and I know that comes from Islam and things like that, dealing with the genies, and these are the jinn mentioned of in Islam that are in ancient relics. They were in magical lamps and things like that, and that's when it kind of gets into the whole thing: is can items be possessed, or can spirits be linked within, and some type of furniture that a loved one had who died in it, or that was their favorite thing. That gets into a lot of stuff. Some people believe that items can't be possessed, but dealing with some of the ancient scripts, that's where we get the concept of the genies from and the jinn. But they grant you wishes. But I mean, we've seen in many movies and just like a lot of lore over the years that that after that third wish, you know, something happens, or they have the different imps or the genies or whatever who give you the wish, but the wish turns bad. You know, you wish for $1,000 or, you know, to win the lottery, you get it, but now you have all these people who are wanting to kill you because you have all the money. You know, you know, you want this, but you get it, and that. So that's always been a notion there that these type of entities want something as well. So you would approach a demon or some type of angelic figure to get the information, and you don't know it a lot of times that they want something back.
Oh, yeah.
You may just want to know that they exist. You just may want to just make contact, but once you make contact, they want something. And I found something as simple as wanting to live in your mind, wanting you to create an altar or a shrine in your home, just so that you acknowledge them. This type of things. It can be as practical as that, of them living in your mind, that you acknowledge them daily. You wear a necklace that reminds you of that entity, and they will, you know. But then I think it gets to a place where they want to live in your mind and eventually drive you mad, especially some of the poltergeists or deceptive demons as well. Just kind of like what happened to me.
Oh, yeah. And they get people, you know, to do, you know, wicked things, an easy way to put it. I mean, look how many murders through all the years it's been done. Yeah. You know, some of the famous murderers has actually said that they had spirits in their head telling them to do it.
The devil made me do it, yeah.
Yeah, and then if you research the person, you know, the murderer, it had it. You go back to their childhood. Somewhere during their childhood, they were talking about, you know, encounters or anything like what you're talking about has happened to them. So, I mean, you know, they probably get into your brain and make you do things that, you know, that you rationalize have no control over.
I mean, I had some of the encounters with the cutting. You know, years ago when I was a teenager, I felt this really strong urge to cut myself, and I needed to see my blood, and there was a release when it happened, and it was like the spirit of this thing around me was appeased when I did what it wanted me to do. I felt that sensation. I know what it feels like, and I know what it feels like on the other end. I know what it feels like to do good and feel like God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit is watching over you, beckoning you to do good deeds, and you feel like you appeased the Holy Spirit by doing a good deed or helping, you know, someone out who was in need and things like that, or praying for someone or casting demons out of someone, and you feel this euphoria that comes with it. It goes both ways. I think for one aspect to be true, I think the polar opposite has to be true as well. If you're doing this for demons and they're doing this, then I think that if we are to go on the opposite, I think it's the same for the angels and for God and the Holy Spirit. And I've experienced the heights and depths of both sides, so I can kind of approach it from that one who has been on both sides and kind of live to talk about it, you know, openly and not even biased, you know, just kind of present the information.
Oh yeah. Have you known anybody that's been really possessed that it was to the point that it even scared you?
Man, when people, a lot of it has to do with drugs, you know, I think one of the easiest ways to kind of open up yourself to it is through drugs. There's people who, you can be around people. You can feel it too. You can feel it in your body. You can feel it in your auric field when someone has ill intentions towards you, and they're like being around people who are waiting for you to turn your back so they can knock you over your head and take what you have.
Oh, wow.
Like that. That's straight up demonic. That's not good at all. And so to be around those people who are on drugs and things like that, and I have been through a lot of deliverance sessions myself, and I've performed many deliverance and exorcisms as well, and to see what a person goes through in the body, dysmorphia, and the body's locking up, and their necks turning backward, and can't move their arms, and just their body's locking up, screaming at the top of their lungs, and things like this. It gets really intense. Like a little sweet old woman talking to you like she's, Freddy Krueger or something like that from Nightmare on Elm Street, and hearing voices come out